Long ago, in the powerful land of Egypt, the descendants of Jacob had grown into a large and strong people. They were known as the Israelites. What had once been a place of safety slowly became a place of suffering. A new Pharaoh ruled Egypt, one who did not remember Joseph or care about the good the Israelites had done. When he saw how numerous they had become, fear filled his heart. He worried that they might rise against Egypt, and so he made a cruel decision. He enslaved them. The Israelites were forced into hard labor, building cities, working in fields, and making bricks under the scorching sun. Their lives were filled with pain, exhaustion, and injustice. Yet, even in their suffering, they continued to grow stronger in number. Pharaoh, desperate to control them, gave a terrifying order. Every Hebrew baby boy was to be killed at birth. But hope was not extinguished. A Hebrew woman gave birth to a baby boy and hid him for as long as she could. When it became too dangerous, she placed him in a basket and gently set it afloat on the Nile River. The child was discovered by Pharaoh's own daughter. Moved with compassion, she chose to raise him as her own and named him Moses. Moses grew up in the palace, surrounded by wealth and power, yet he never forgot who he was. He knew he belonged to the Hebrew people. One day, when he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave, Moses acted in anger and killed the man. Realizing his life was in danger, Moses fled Egypt into the wilderness. For 40 years, Moses lived as a shepherd in the desert, far from the palace, far from power, far from purpose. Then one ordinary day, something extraordinary happened. While tending sheep, Moses saw a bush on fire, yet it was not being consumed. From the flames, God spoke. God told Moses that he had seen the suffering of his people and heard their cries. Then God gave Moses a mission that seemed impossible. Moses was to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of slavery. Moses doubted himself. He felt unworthy and afraid. But God promised to be with him. So Moses returned to Egypt, not as a prince, but as a messenger of God. Moses and his brother Aaron stood before Pharaoh and delivered God's command, "Let my people go." Pharaoh refused. He questioned God's authority and hardened his heart. What followed was a powerful display of God's power. One by one, plagues struck Egypt. The Nile turned to blood. Frogs filled homes. Gnats and flies covered the land. Livestock died. Painful sores broke out. Hail destroyed crops. Locusts devoured what remained. Darkness covered Egypt for 3 terrifying days. Each time Pharaoh promised to let the people go, and each time he changed his mind. Finally, God warned of one last plague. Every firstborn in Egypt would die. But God provided a way of protection for the Israelites. Each family was to sacrifice a lamb and mark their doorposts with its blood. That night, death passed over every home marked by obedience. A great cry rose from Egypt. Even Pharaoh's own son had died. Broken and defeated, Pharaoh finally gave the order to release the Israelites. They left Egypt in haste, stepping into freedom after generations of slavery. But Pharaoh's heart hardened once more. He gathered his army and chased after them. Soon the Israelites were trapped, Pharaoh's army behind them and the Red Sea before them. Fear spread among the people and they cried out in panic. But God made a way where there seemed to be none. Moses raised his staff and the sea parted. The Israelites walked through on dry ground with towering walls of water on both sides. When the Egyptian army followed, the waters rushed back, destroying them completely. The people were finally free. They sang and celebrated, praising God for their deliverance. Yet their journey was far from over. Freedom did not mean comfort. In the wilderness, the people faced hunger, thirst, and uncertainty. They complained, they doubted, they feared the future. Still, God remained faithful. He provided manna from heaven, water from rocks, and guidance through a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. At Mount Sinai, God gave Moses the Ten Commandments, guidelines for living in freedom, justice, and love. Even then, the people struggled to trust. They worshipped a golden calf and forgot the God who saved them. Yet, God showed mercy. Year after year, the Israelites journeyed through the wilderness, learning obedience, humility, and faith. They were no longer slaves. They were becoming a people with a purpose. At last, they stood on the edge of the promised land. Though Moses himself would not enter, his mission was complete. He had led the people out of chains and into a covenant with God. The Exodus became the defining story of Israel, a reminder that God hears the cries of the oppressed, delivers with power, and keeps his promises. From this story, we learn that God never ignores suffering, even when it lasts for many years. Courage and obedience often come before understanding. Pride can destroy even the most powerful rulers. Freedom does not remove challenges, but God provides what we need one day at a time. True freedom requires a change of heart, not just a change of circumstances. And above all, God is faithful, no matter how long the journey may be.